What's up guys? So as the title of this video suggests, today I'm going to be showing you some gaming benchmarks of Crysis 3. It's currently in open beta, at least during the time of filming this video. It's multiplayer, and I've been playing it a lot lately because I've been benchmarking, but I've actually been liking it a lot as well. It looks amazing, and it's actually really fun. I found myself playing it more than actually benchmarking. I kind of got carried away. But today I'm going to be showing you 8 different video cards and how they perform with this game. So I've got 4 NVIDIA and 4 AMD cards, and I'm going to pit them against each other to see which one performs the best. But first, let's take a look at the hardware that I was using. So I'm using a Core i7-2600K, and it is overclocked at 4400 MHz. And keep in mind, guys, that Crysis 3 does utilize a lot of your CPU's processing power, which is why I was actually seeing temps in the high 80s at times. I'm also running on the Z68 chipset with an Asus board. I've got 16 gigs of Vengeance RAM, clocked at 1600 megatransfers per second. You can take a look at the other specs right there, and I did want to point out that I am on Windows 7 64-bit, and I am using the latest AMD and NVIDIA drivers. And lastly, all of these tests were run at 1920 by 1080 on a 27-inch Asus VG278. Alright, so starting off with the big dogs, we've got EVGA's GTX 680 up against HIS 7970X. This is the gigahertz edition, so it comes factory overclocked out of the box. And I was able to get max settings on both of these cards. As you can see, the frame rate is marginal. I mean, just by 2 frames, the 680 beat out the 7970, just barely. As far as the temps go, obviously it's going to vary a lot from manufacturer to manufacturer, so we did see a better cooler, more efficient cooler on HIS card. Yeah, as you can see there, very high settings, completely maxed out. As you can see, I'm using SMAA. It's actually much more efficient method of rendering than MSAA, so I was actually able to achieve higher frame rate with that setting on. Moving on, we've got the GTX 670. This is my personal card, as most of you know, by Asus, up against another HIS card, the 7950. And here we saw we were able to achieve maximum settings on both cards once again, and as you can see, the frame rates are just basically exactly the same. So there was very little difference other than the aftermarket cooler, of course, but you can see there it's pretty much negligible at this point. That brings us to PNY GTX 660 Ti. That was up against the Sapphire Radeon HD 7870. And here we can see that we actually had to change some of the settings. We are no longer operating at maximum settings with the 7870. I had to turn down the SMAA to 2x, while the GTX 660 Ti was actually able to achieve full max settings while still getting average FPS of 35. Last but not least, actually last and least, was the MSI GTX 650 Ti versus the HIS 7850. And here we can see we definitely bumped down the settings. The 650 Ti didn't perform all that great. I thought it was actually going to outdo the 7850 for whatever reason, but I actually had to turn down all the video settings to high, including the texture resolution, and also the SMAA and anisotropy was bumped down to 2x. As far as the 7850 goes, as you can see there, I was still operating at very high, so almost max settings, but I definitely had to turn down the SMAA to 2x as well. And that wraps it up for this video. Hopefully next time somebody asks you, can my video card run Crysis? You can tell them, yes, it can. Or no, it cannot. You need a better video card, because you suck. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.